So after imparting this sort of valuable information, the witches decide they're going to leave. But Macbeth wants them to hang around. He says, "Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more. By Sinel's death I know I am Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor?" So he's like, "I know I'm Thane of one of the things you said, but how am I Thane of the others? Because they're not dead. They're still alive and very much doing their job." And then they vanish, the witches vanish. And Banquo, helpful as ever, says, "The earth hath bubbles as the water has, and these are of them. Whither have they vanished?" "Thanks, buddy, for the info." Macbeth says, "Into the air, and what seemed corporeal melted and breathed into the wind. Would they had stayed." Man, I wish they'd stuck around. It's pretty simple. And then they kind of talk a little bit about what the witches said. Like, Macbeth talks about how maybe he's going to be king, but what about his kids? And his best buddy Banquo's like, "Well, still, it seems pretty cool." And then in come Ross and Angus, whose name I still love. "The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success. And when he reads of thy personal adventure in the rebels' fight, his wonders and his praises do contend, which should be thine or his." So basically the king is really excited about how awesome Macbeth did. And then Angus says, "We are sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, only to herald thee to his sight, not pay thee." So basically they're saying, "We came to say that the king thinks you're awesome, you should come because the king wants to talk to you in person." And Ross goes on, "And for earnest of a greater honour he bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor, for which addition hail, most worthy Thane, for it is thine." And then Banquo's like, "Whoa," because he says, "What, can the devil speak true?" Macbeth says, "The Thane of Cawdor lives, why do you dress me in borrowed robes?" And then Angus explains, "Who was the Thane lives yet, but under heavy judgment bears his life, which he deserves to lose." So basically, the Thane of Cawdor rebelled, became a traitor, and he's been taken prisoner, and he's going to be stripped and probably killed. Stripped of his rank, I mean, not of his clothes, although maybe we are in Scotland. Macbeth then thinks about this, and then he kind of pulls Banquo aside and he's like, "Do you not hope your children shall be kings when those that gave the Thane of Cawdor to me promise no less to them?" He's basically saying, dude, those people promised me all these titles and they've happened, so aren't you excited because your kids are going to be kings? And Banquo says, "That trusted home might yet enkindle you into the crown, besides the Thane of Cawdor. But 'tis strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness tell us truths, win us with honest trifles, to betray's deepest consequence." So he's basically saying it's cool that we've gotten this, but maybe these instruments of darkness, probably the witches, told us some truth, but maybe this is all just leading up to some big disappointment or big failure, because you're not king yet. But Macbeth seems pretty okay with whatever the witches said. "Two truths are told as happy prologues to the swelling act." So he's like, "I've got two. Just one more? I could be king. That would be cool." So after kind of talking about this to himself and a little bit to Banquo, although Banquo kind of covers for him because Macbeth is all like, what if I could be king? And the other two, Ross and Angus, are going, "What's up with him?" And Banquo says, "Oh, look how our partners rap. Look at him. Oh, he's so cute over there," thinking to himself. New honors come upon him like strange garments, cleave not to their mold, but with the aid of use. So basically, he's just getting used to all these cool new titles and everything. You know, like when you first get clothes and they don't exactly fit, but you just wear them for a little while and they fit better? That's what he's saying with that. And then they all just decide they're going to go, and they're probably going to go talk to the king, because that's what Ross and Angus came here for in the first place. And then Macbeth kind of pulls Banquo aside as they're leaving, and he says, "Think upon what hath chanced, and at more time, the interim having waited, let us speak our free hearts each to other." So he's basically saying, let's talk about this again, buddy, when there's not these two other guys listening. Well, that ends this scene. In a future video, just to give you guys a heads up, we are going to be talking a little bit more about Scottish culture, and especially about their kings, and why it's kind of weird for Duncan to not only have not been at the battle, but that he's got his son as his heir. But for now, thanks again for viewing!